I love Magic the Gathering. It's something that I've only been into for about the last 6 months or so. I started give or take 20 days from the end of Foundations. And through this time, I've realized a lot about this game and other things that it's made me feel, along with my friends and other hobbies that I connected it to. So today I want to go ahead and talk about the good, the bad, and the Gathering. The impact Magic the Gathering has had on me cannot be understated. Between learning new mechanics to getting into a new hobby and making new friends, as well as kindling my friendships even further than what they were due to me introducing myself into a hobby that my friends once had and letting them reconnect with the old memories that they had. I was never one to play Magic the Gathering throughout high school, middle school, or even elementary school, as one of my buddies does trace his origins to playing the game back that far due to his uncle. I was more of a Yu-Gi-Oh player and always thought Magic was a little too complicated with the tapping for lands and all the power seeming a little underdeveloped. Everything being like 1/1s, 2/2s, 3/3s. I always thought it was a little too confusing. Come to find out, I think it is my preferred way to play a card game. It makes the most sense and feels the best to be able to manage your resources on the tabletop. I think the game is daunting if you let it be, but more complicated stuff arises after you learn the basics of you play a land, tap a land, use that land to generate the mana and push forward. It was something that blew my mind that I had to actually incorporate how much magic, or mana I should say, I get to use while building a deck. And I found out that usually about 40 to 45 lands works best for me. I am notorious for drawing awful hands. I came to learn the different colors and what they did. Blue was control, red was aggro, quick aggro, green is big stompy monsters, white is life gain, and helping your friends. Black is you hate your friends, and that's all there is to it. Then when you get to the more complicated things, such as dual color lands, tricolor lands, four color lands, or even playing Wooburg, there is always something new to do in Magic, and branching out is the best thing that you can possibly do. I have found out that I really love Wooburg despite not ever being equipped to properly do Wooburg things. The color system, in my opinion, is phenomenal. While you have blue mainly as the control with counter spells and shutdowns, meaning you enchant a creature so that way it is a different type of creature with less base power and toughness, white also has quite a few counter spells as well as stopping your creatures from attacking entirely. It is also the board wipe one, but black and red both have their fair share of board wipes, which make the color you choose more unique as you can build around what people don't expect from that general color type. In between each type and flavor that you decide to go with, the artwork that stems from it is absolutely phenomenal, no matter what color you choose and what you're trying to play. Of course, there is a good synergy into building decks, but nothing ever stops you from looking at beautiful artwork. Stemming all the way down to basic lands can be some of the most gorgeous pieces. I know the Unfinity is probably my favorite, and I want to own an entire deck built with all 5 colors, with all of each land of that type. The artwork can branches into the universe beyond, which I've heard online a debate between whether it's good or bad. And with the recent Final Fantasy release, I believe it is a phenomenal addition to Magic. I personally am a big fan of Warhammer in real life, and do indeed have a Marnius Calgar deck, with the goal of building a Karn deck specifically around swapping him around the table, because I think it would be fun. I enjoy the fact that I'm able to relive my experience playing through Final Fantasy and then going to play more of the Final Fantasy games because Magic had inspired me to do so with the sets. I personally think the different types of playstyles in the game is what really draws me into it. The fact that I can make a ton of tokens, or swing at you for 1 billion damage, or make it so that way I just have a wall and you can't attack me whatsoever, are just some of the most fun aspects of the game. You could have one person using the same commander and have entirely different playstyles around it. Even objectively bad cards can be used in some weird thought-provoking combos that don't seem to make any sense, but they pop off, and boy do they pop off good. I think the camaraderie and shenanigans that you can get up to, either at your local gaming store or with a group of friends, is one of the best aspects about Magic the Gathering. I have yet to have a severely bad case of player makes me not want to go back to this hobby. I have consistently enjoyed my time, even through the minor hiccups here and there, and we will get to those. In my short time playing Magic the Gathering, I do know that there are things that need to be addressed, such as power creep, shortage of boxes, and certain types of player bases and how people play. Before we get into the deep stuff that everyone already talks about online, we can talk about what I consider the bad, as this is a personal video for Casual Commander. I personally do not like stepping to a table where every single spell I try to cast, or trying to cast my commander for the 9th time, gets absolutely counterspelled or immediately spot removed. I think spot removal being a necessity in a deck is a hindrance to some decks, such as whenever I try to play Jodah and I would just like to have a bunch of legendary artifacts and creatures, I need spot removal or some form of spot protection just to stop Jodah from being removed. And again, I understand why. He is a terrifying commander when you let him start summoning multiple things. But when I play casually, I play passively and just want the game to go on for a while. I know not everybody wants to have a very long game all the time, which is why whenever I do get to play Commander, it is only very so often with a couple of my friends where we make our playgroup or we schedule to go to a Commander night. So it's not a usual thing for us to want to draw out the game for a little bit, as we all are grown adults with full-time jobs and don't have much time for a hobby. I think board wipe tribals are a big problem, and a lot of this stems from me playing Magic the Gathering Arena as well, because a majority of the cards that are real are also in Arena, while Arena also has its own set of cards called Alchemy cards, which are exclusive only to the app. And they also are some problematic cards where they have perpetual effects and concurrent effects. I find it unfair to be playing a small bracket 1 or 2 deck to be going to a playgroup, a casual playgroup mind you, and have no recursion for the person to be bloodthirsty to mill everyone over and over and over again. And unless somebody can remove them from the group before I'm halfway through my deck, it's basically over for me. Only 2 of my decks have any form of recursion. Only one of them is built around it. Theft decks are another type of problem deck, I should say. It annoys me to no end that I work to get these cards and want to play these cards, and instead you take these cards from me and play them instead. If they are on the table, in my opinion, they are fair game to target, but when you are exiling from my library before I even have the chance to see what I was going to draw, and possibly landlock me because of it, it is no longer a fun form of theft. I think the other problem that I have is people that go in super bloodthirsty, that they always want to go for the win. Of course, it's a game. You should want to win, but you shouldn't want to win at the cost of everyone else having fun, especially when it's a casual group at a casual store and there are no winnings to be had. Now, that's more dependent on the type of player. And unfortunately, in this hobby, like many others, including Warhammer, one of the biggest concerns that I have is that a lot of people that go into the local gaming store, while I'm either just looking at cards or there for a local commander night, seem to be unhygienic and don't tend to take care of themselves very well. It has only happened once before, and I'm not saying that everybody that likes My Little Pony or wants to play the My Little Pony deck is like this, where you get the people that are obviously gonna make you super uncomfortable the remainder of the night. Either talking about how sexy the pony cards are, or how attractive they think they are, and then you have other ones that just like to talk about other cards and over-sexualize them. Like, we're here to play a game. I don't want to be turned on, and you're not turning me on anyway. Please stop. All of this is to say, it just depends on who you are with and what the circumstances are. When I am having a casual game with my friends on the weekend, I know that these problems aren't going to arise. We are all very well kept, well groomed, and like to have fun with each other. Sure, raunchy jokes are going to be made here and there, but it's not going to make anyone uncomfortable because we all know we're not serious about it. We have boundaries that we have set.
which is a lot harder to do with strangers in a public setting put on the spot out of nowhere. Now that we're done talking about players and back to the actual game, we can talk about some problematic commanders that I have seen pop up and I agree can be very problematic and have caused a couple of my friends to concede the second they saw that I had these cards. Atraxa and Infect counters are a horrible thing to do in a casual play group. It is one thing to be counting commander damage, but now you have to count poison damage on top of it, and with Atraxa, you can just proliferate those. If you do not spot remove Atraxa whenever she is on the field, as long as you have one poison counter, you are guaranteed to lose that game, unless you can knock that player out first. A bit of pot calling the kettle black, but Grand Arbiter Augustine IV is another controversial card, as it is a game changer, and a game changer that you can put in the command zone and bring back out. Now, I do have a deck based around Marnius Calgar that is predominantly a blue deck that I built out of spite from being butthurt from playing with my friends. I have since dumbed it down, but Grand Arbiter is still in there along with Helm of the Host, and a big part of the engine is putting Helm of the Host onto Grand Arbiter and locking my friends out from play. I know that is not a very cool thing to do, and it is not something that anybody should plan on doing if you want to keep your friend group. However, I normally will sacrifice Grand Arbiter the second I ever get him on the field when we are playing a casual game to show that I am still here to have fun and not to win or cause problems with any of my friends. Eldrazi in a hole is another one that I know a lot of people will concede on right away. Again, I play super passively with my friends and we like to play long drawn out games. So my Eldrazi are only a problem if you let it be, which normally we play where they will ignore me almost entirely for about 3 rounds and then hard target me to lock my board up a little bit, which is fair. It's not fun to have me come at you with 21-1 Scions with Annihilator 2. Now, whenever you go to an LGS and people all of a sudden just bring out Eldrazi out of nowhere and again start stomping people is where the fun gets lost. It's the checks and balances in reading the room with who you're playing with, and I feel like a lot of people, in my experience out in public, don't know how to do that properly. Again, this is all being said from my experiences. You may have completely different experiences, and you may also have completely different friends that do nothing but make you want to play competitive. I understand that it's through people. I am bringing up general complaints that I see thrown around a lot via Reddit, Facebook groups, or just online through different wikis. The gathering part in Magic the Gathering is probably about my favorite part. While everyone has their own reasons to play, whether it be to win, to look at the art, or for me personally, to socialize and gather with other people that you want to have fun with. I'm 25 years old, married, with a 2-year-old child. I work full-time, and most of my friends work full-time, and if not having families of their own, having their own problems they have going on. As an adult, I don't get the chance to be able to get out much and actually see them and spend time with them. So the days that we are able to sit down and play a game of Commander is probably my favorite time of the week. It is nothing short of a miracle, the time that we all get to sit down and play. It is the very few times that I get to see people that I consider my family because of how close of friends that we are. And me getting into this hobby was able to get me and a couple of these other friends together a lot closer than we had been in a long time. Specifically because they all played it in high school and I never got the chance to. Meeting other people at the local gaming store, no matter how young, how old, has always been a refreshing thing. The last time we were at a local gaming store, we had a 12-year-old join our pod who was so excited that he was really into Doctor Who and he was able to play his deck on the table. My buddy let him win, and it was great just watching him smile. I don't know if anyone else has kids, but it's something that you really don't realize until you have one, that you enjoy seeing children be happy. Because you know that one day, that happiness is going to be harder and harder to obtain. And I get that happiness when I'm with my friends. Whether it's from having a little bit to eat, having something to drink, and then we just sit there and we play the game, we always end up with about 5 to 15 minutes between each person's round because we're just yelling and joking over each other. And sure, some things may get said and people do get butthurt, as I do and other friends have, but in the end, we come back to it. We continuously come back to it, and I think that's the whole thing that makes Magic the Gathering worth it for me, is that it brings me out of my shell, away from my wife for a little bit, away from not having to take care of my kid for a little bit, and allows me to actually be able to have some fun with my friends, which I don't get to do very often. thank you all for watching and listening to me ramble. If it sounded like I was reading from script, I wasn't. I am really bad at reading word from word while trying to record this, so I basically just have bullet points and was trying to collect my thoughts. The amount of times I had to stop recording and redo it over is ridiculous, but I am hoping to start making more YouTube videos, and this is the channel that I'm trying to cultivate now. Otherwise, yeah, no, Magic's just a good game that touched my heart. I'm going to be sending this video to a lot of my friends and family, and, you know, hopefully they'll be there, and I just want people to, you know, see why I enjoy the game so much. I know my wife, she's talked about it a couple times. She's like, you seem to play it a lot. Arena is one. I hate Arena. The people on it just kind of suck. I don't ever get really fun games on Arena. Very rarely do I get my passive style of play on Arena. As you've probably seen, I'm a hypocrite because I play Theft Decks and stuff, as you've probably seen through the video coming up here. But, yeah, no script. I just was trying to gather my thoughts between each one, and I'm horrible at public speaking, so I just had to go ahead and, you know, read off the bullet point and then try to form a coherent thought there. That would work. I am currently recording on Audacity, and in between each bullet point I had to stop, because if I try to string it all along together, it's going to become cohesive rambling, kind of like this has been. But I just want to thank you all for watching. If anyone watches this video, you know, like, subscribe, share, all the good YouTuber starter stuff. Alright, you guys have a good one. Stop trying to time me out. It's not going to work. Just grab a hand, play it. Stop conceding when one thing goes wrong.